Hello, this is a tradesight trade recap of the futures setup that we saw this week. Let's take a look at the Russell Index futures. And this is on Thursday, and this is the first bar of the day you can see right here on a 5-minute chart. What we've got is our our futures tradesight levels overlaid on this chart, and every one of these colored lines has a different meaning that we teach to our subscribers. So the red lines are one thing, the dark blue lines are the pivot series, the purple lines have another meaning, and these light blue lines with the shaded area between them are what we call our value area. And I'm not going to get into what all the lines mean here, but the value area alone can be very interesting because the market uses the value area as sort of a suction point, an area that it gets drawn into and stays into, but also gets drawn across, and that's where the tool can be so useful. And so what we like to see is when the market opens above the value area, which is to say above this shaded area right here, if it comes down and exactly touches that value area high and waits a bit, which oftentimes you'll see the market do, and then breaks into the value area, there's a really high percentage chance, about 70 to 80% of the time, that it's going to cross the value area. And that's despite the fact that each of these other lines you see in here are various support and resistance points. So let's watch and see on Thursday how the Russell futures played out. So here's a look. And right here what you can see is we've just come down and exactly hit the value area high, and that's what we were talking about. That's called setting the level. So now the market has said, yep, there's a wall here. We haven't decided yet if we're going to break into that value area, which is a key range from the prior day's action. And so let's watch as the next bar comes into play. Again, you're sitting right above that value area. Okay. So can you break into it? Look at that, another one. And this is what makes the trade so interesting. The more you sit on that level, the more you actually touch it, the more valuable the trade becomes if you break into it. We would want to go short moving into that, under that level. And as you can see, there it goes right there. Now that's the pivot, that dark blue line right there that this thing stops on this bar, even though it goes lower for a minute. The green tri-star levels are areas that the market has tested many times in the past, very key levels in general that are sort of suction points in the market. But remember, the key here is 70 to 80% of the time, now that we've started above the value area and broken into the value area, we should trade all the way across the value area, and that's all the way down here to that 901.40, the lower light blue line. And as you can see, next bar is pretty solid to the downside. A little pause here. Look at that, straight down to that next bar, and then boom. And it's not just that you trade across it. Look how you stop right at that level. Okay, that's a pretty big move on the Russell futures. I mean, that's exactly what a value area is supposed to do for you. And again, even after this, you find some support. Look at that. That's not a coincidence. You find support right at that value area low. And even though I think at some point here you drift a little lower for the session, you have a hard time getting away from the value area until eventually, guess what happens? And we're going to come back at it one more time. And then look what happens. All the way back. And you stall out right there. So again, it's not just that these are made up numbers. These are very critical support and resistance points, and they have a specific use, couple of specific uses from a trading perspective. But you can't ignore their power, and you can't ignore the importance that the market places on them during the trading day.